Hello and welcome to another e-learning tutorial from dakinane.com. Today I'm going to continue with my Audacity tutorials and I will show you how to make a multi-track recording, use the envelope tool and fade tracks in and out. Today I want to copy several clips of music from different tracks and then use them in a single recording. To start the process, I first have to browse to my music folders and select the track I want by clicking on it. Once it opens in Audacity, I use the Select tool to highlight the clip I want in my new project, and then I copy it. Next, I need to create a new project, and when that new project opens, I have to paste the clip into this new project. You can now see that the copied clip is now the start of a new project. I can now amplify, trim, and reduce noise on this copied clip as necessary, should I want to. I'm not going to edit the clips at the moment, but will repeat the process of copying and pasting clips of music until the new basic new project is put together. Audacity keeps all the project files open, so I find for clarity's sake it is best to close the files that are no longer required, as this minimises confusion. I can now repeat my actions as before but with another track, and copy my selection from the original and paste the clip into my new project. It is important to note that Audacity highlights an active track in a project as blue. You can see this in the left-hand panel. If I were to paste now, my newly copied clip would end up on the first track. I do not want this. I want a separate track. To unselect the first track, I have to click in the clear space below. The track returns to a default grey, and now I'm free to paste my new clip, and the result is two tracks. I'm going to repeat this copy and paste process for a third time, taking care to ensure that I do not paste my third clip onto my second active track. As you can see here, my first two tracks have taken up quite a bit of screen real estate. I can reduce the height of each track without affecting the sound by clicking on the bottom edge of each track and reducing the height to allow more space on screen simply by just pushing up. Once I've done this, remembering to click in some free space to unselect the second track, I can now paste my third and final track into my new project. I now have the basics in place for my multi-track recording, and it's now time to start editing it. You can see from my timeline that if I were to play this track, all three tracks would play at the same time. In some instances, this would be perfectly acceptable, but for my podcast, this music is meant to be a backing track and is meant to enhance the voice and not detract from it. I will move them along my timeline in a moment. Before that, however, I want to label each track so that I know what each track is and where it should be on the timeline. To label a track, all I have to do is to click on the drop-down menu on each individual track and give it a name. When done, all I have to do is then click OK and repeat the process. On a complex recording, I think that it is best to do this as I paste each new track into the project. Once I have labelled all of the tracks, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to do this, it is then time to put them into that first draft order. In this example, I have simply labelled the tracks sequentially. I can change the play sequence later, and this is when labelling becomes crucial. In Audacity, the timeline starts at 0 at the left and moves through time to the right. So logically, I now need to move my tracks to the right. To do this, I need to click on the time slider tool and click and drag the appropriate tracks to the right. As you can see here, as I move the tracks to the right, they move out of screen. To remedy this, Audacity allows you to change the view of my recording. If I click on the View menu option, there is a Fit in Screen option in the drop-down menu, which I click on to zoom out of my timeline. Doing this ensures that I can see my entire recording without having to scroll left and right. I can zoom in and out later as I need to for fine editing, but this is great just for basic editing. Now that I've got my backing track, I want to record my voice with this music in the background. To ensure that my existing tracks do not play whilst I'm recording, I have to click on the mute button on each track before I start. Now that I have done this, I am free to record my voiceover and the backing track will not be recorded. As you can see here, the active sound wave is blue and the muted tracks are grey. The first thing I'm going to do is to amplify my voiceover, and I demonstrated how to do this in Audacity Tutorial 1. Now that I've amplified my track, I want to hear what my entire composition sounds like. To do this, I unmute the tracks and play the composition from the start with all 4 tracks enabled. Which brings me neatly to the envelope tool. I want my backing track to be really in the background, and I can use the envelope tool to do this. By using this tool, I can add points in an individual track where I can increase or decrease the overall volume of a track to emphasize or minimize the impact of any given element. In this case, I really want to push the music to the background, so I'm going to reduce all 3 tracks. This tool is non-destructive to the original recording, and so it's possible to edit, review, and then tweak individual tracks for me to get the audio result I want. Finally, I want to use the fade in and fade out effect on my voiceover track. To do this, I have to highlight and preview the element of my voiceover I wish to fade in, and then using the effects menu, click on the fade in option and Audacity will edit the selected element to fade in. To fade out, I repeat the process at the end of the track, but use the fade out option instead. Well, that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more e-learning tutorials and to share my channel with your friends. In the meantime, keep practicing.